The World Storytelling Institute has its genesis in Laura Sims. Laura is a storyteller and educator based in New York City, and I don't know, 25 years ago, I was sitting in Laura's office saying, "Laura, there really should be a storytelling institute." And I said, "Laura, you are the Storytelling Institute. You are a living institute." And that's as far as it went. So over the last 20 years, I've moved to Chennai, South India here, on the southeast coast of India, facing, I guess, Burma, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, and beyond that, Australia. And so I founded the Storytelling Institute here without Laura, without her official involvement, but of course I'm still in touch with her. So the Storytelling Institute is dedicated to document and, more importantly, developing traditional styles of speaking. So really the styles of performance are more important to me than the actual stories. The social situations in which the stories are told, the styles of behavior, the styles of interaction, is very fascinating to me. So here we are in Tamil Nadu in South India in an extremely rich environment culturally. We're halfway between Africa and Australia. So that's, I could go on for hours, but...
So what do you hope to accomplish with the Institute?
Well, you know, languages of small communities are dying out, unfortunately. So the world is heading in the direction of a monoculture, which is boring and I believe unhealthy. You know, it's been shown that biological diversity is good for an environment, and I believe cultural diversity is also. So this is really about helping the world to retain its diversity and develop its diversity.
I know that for a number of years you studied a group of forest people and worked with them. I wonder if you would briefly tell us about your work there and the people and what's going on for them right now.
This is the Kani people. Formal name is the Kanikaran people. There are about 25,000 of them in the southern part of Tamil Nadu and also in the southern part of Kerala. The boundary between Tamil Nadu and Kerala is in the mountains there. They all live in the mountains. And the boundary doesn't really mean anything to the people because they're on both sides. And they speak a mix of Tamil and Malayalam. The Kani are a true forest or jungle tribe with an ancient tradition of walking in the forest, collecting honey, where people are no longer supposed to hunt udumbu. Udumbu are giant lizards. People are not supposed to hunt the panni, the wild pigs, but people still are allowed to fish, tiny fish in the rivers, in the small rivers. So people use cloths to catch fish in the cloth, and it's just a great Aboriginal tribe. There are people from Africa out to the South Pacific who look kind of similar, Aboriginal people. So I call it the Afro-Indo-Pacific region, or the African Indo-Pacific region. And the Kani people are a member of the African Indo South Pacific people. It's the first layer of civilization, the bedrock of humanity in this whole part of the world. So shamanism is there, animism as it's called. It was a great pleasure and honor for me after years and years of reading about tribal cultures to actually do field work with the tribal culture, which involved me setting up a tent on the side of a mountain in the area some distance away from the main village, where a number of people live on the side of a mountain in Old Valambi. New Valambi is pretty close to a road, but Old Valambi is on the side of a mountain about 2 kilometers away. So I was based in Old Valambi, and it was a great and ongoing connection to the land and to shamanism, really. My host, my fieldwork assistant partner was Vel Murrigan, who's a very modern fellow, speaks English very well, and even before I got there, he had a big satellite dish on his roof and had wired the whole village to give cable TV to the people in the village. But his mother is a shamaness and knows all the ancient traditions. And I found in general when doing fieldwork in communities, it's useful to make contact with young people who are interested in communication technology and interested in communication with the outside world. And those young people then can serve as a go-between with the elders who are the real tradition bearers of the community.
I know a lot of your work is with teleconferencing. Are you teleconferencing with the villages?
Well, at the end of my fieldwork period, I invited people from Valambi to come up to Chennai and perform. I was especially working with children's singing games. So the children came up to Chennai and taught the singing games to children in Chennai, and then taught them by video conference to children of Tamil descent who are living in Philadelphia. So those video conferences were a part of my dissertation research project, and now we use Skype here out of our home office for various applications, teaching, being taught, and I just had a meeting today with a school that wants their children to do video conferencing with children in the USA and around the world. So things are in process. When children do it, it's called school children, it's called a virtual field trip or virtual study trip.
Nice.
So if children in the different locations just talk and meet with the help of translation, if necessary, no money exchanges hands. However, there are many museums and aquariums and other cultural institutions now that give lessons by video conference. So it can be a money-making proposition to provide cultural lessons, and I'm trying to develop a number of sites here, including with the Kani people in a living museum that would provide video conference access. But it's a gradual process. So I made a conscious decision to invite the group of Kani people to Chennai, the state capital, for the video conference, instead of trying to video conference in a city or town closer to their village, because I didn't want to disturb the local ecology too much. Chennai is the gateway to the interior, so I felt it was appropriate for those people to come to the gateway city in order to talk to the outside world. But things are changing. Mobile telephones are coming in with the video conferencing built into the mobile phone, and as soon as we get the 3G network up, some companies are already providing it, but as soon as that hits and as soon as they get coverage in the mountains at Valambi, they'll be able to video conference from their village and from the jungle. And then it's a question of do they want to?
Yeah. So thank you. I want to turn briefly to your work with the local fishing villages and your concerns about their future and your ideas about what might be done to help them.
Well, I really have these twin fieldwork communities, the tribal people in the forest, mountains, and the fishing people on the coast. The rhythm of life here in Tamil Nadu is very much from the coast to the mountains. There are actually 5 ecocultural zones in the classical, traditional culture and literature. The coast, agricultural land, pasture land for domestic animals, and barren sort of wasteland, and then the mountains. And each zone has its own flower, its own time of year, its own time of day, and its own stage in a romantic relationship between lovers. So the ocean seashore represents separation, perhaps because one partner has gone on a long sea voyage. But the mountains represent ecstatic unity. So I'm dreaming of a living museum in both locations, 2 different ones. The one at the ocean, I'm hoping will be here near Chennai. And there is actually a legend about a lady who became a goddess who walked from the coast to the mountain jungles long, long ago. So these 2 living museums one could be at the beginning point and one could be at the end point of her journey. Her walk actually began from a city south of here on the coast, but that city has been swallowed by the sea. So I'm thinking Chennai can serve as the kind of symbolic starting point of her journey. And after coming here, then people would have the option of going across the countryside, into the interior, into the mountains. So a living museum is a museum in which the objects on display are still in everyday use, and members of the community help explain these objects to visitors. So we have traditional boats called katumarams, which are actually rafts, 4 or 5 or 6 trees strapped together. The English word catamaran comes from that. But the English word catamaran, we think of it as a boat, and then on the side there's sort of a second boat which is there for balance. But the katamaram here, katu means tied together and maram means tree. It's really a raft of 4, 5 or 6 trees strapped together. So I've been out in them and water comes up in them. It's not meant to be airtight. It's just a raft. But men go out 4, 5, 10 kilometers out of the ocean like that, paddling, and as they paddle, they have traditional chants, Elele, Elesa, Elele, Elesa, and they work into that. Where are you going? I'm going to the sea. What are you doing? I'm going for the fish. What will you do later? I'm going to the wherever. So they pass the time and get their bodies in the rhythm by this chant. But now, even on these little rafts, the people can put engines, and of course that is the end of the singing, both because they don't need to paddle and because of the noise of the engine. So this is something that us folklorists come across all the time. With modernization and the convenience of technology, the people sometimes discard the very interesting traditions that we romanticize. But we certainly are not in a position to insist that people continue doing the hard work when they can use the engines. So anyway, there's the engines themselves are interesting because they are modified engines that I believe are used for either motorcycles or auto rickshaws, but they modify them in various ways. They're immersible. I've seen them go underwater for 2-3 seconds and still run. And different types of nets and the way they process the nets. They soak the nets in different smells, like coconut water, because they believe the fish like the coconut. Or they're different colors, because they think the fish like different colors. So there's a great deal of folklore that could be explained, both about the human practices and the actual ocean and the sky, the tides, the waves, all of the natural environment. So I think it's a very doable living museum, and it will help the people continue their lifestyle, I believe. Because if they are contributing to the public sphere, education and entertainment about what they're doing, I believe it will help many of them have permission and support from the government to continue their fishing lifestyle.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
Well, it's said in the USA, or at least I've heard it said, that people just don't know how to talk. So I'm dedicated to helping people and myself talk. And of course, a very important part of talking is listening, to be able to listen while you're talking. So I'm here just to explore how the traditional ways of talking and listening, which I know are very valuable for all of us.
Well, thank you.